Today is Thursday, July 13th. We'll tell you what the latest inflation numbers show and what they could mean for interest rates. And the head of the FBI has been in the spotlight this week, what he had to say to lawmakers accusing him of bias. Also, midnight was the deadline. We'll update you on what's happening with not the writer's strike, but a possible actor's strike in Hollywood. Plus, more intense weather across the country, what to expect next. Elon Musk's latest venture that he hopes will rival ChatGPT. And it's being called a stunning social change, what a new report found about Americans' lifestyles. Those stories and much more news to know coming up. Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this. Inflation that's been hanging over the U.S. for more than 2 years is really starting to ease up. In fact, some economists say this is the first time it looks like the Federal Reserve has the upper hand in its fight against price increases. The closely watched Consumer Price Index, or CPI, came out this week, showing what we pay for goods and services. And it showed prices climbed just 3% from a year earlier. That's its slowest pace in more than 2 years. And it's a huge difference from this time last year when inflation peaked at 9.1%. Fed officials have been expected to raise interest rates again in a couple of weeks in its efforts to reel in inflation. But reports predict that might be the last increase for a while. This week's NATO summit wrapped up with world leaders announcing a major security program to help Ukraine continue to defend itself. It came from the world's most powerful democracies, the US, Britain, France, Germany, Canada, Italy, and Japan, aka the G7. It promises to keep offering military and humanitarian aid for years to come. As for the specifics, each G7 country will now come up with its own long-term security arrangement with Ukraine, something Russia says is, quote, potentially very dangerous. The Russian Foreign Ministry promised it would respond using, quote, all means and methods at our disposal, though the U.S. and allies have brushed off Russia's warnings. President Biden closed out the summit with a speech to highlight the commitment to Ukraine. He also deeply criticized Russia. But he said in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, NATO is stronger, more energized, and more united than ever before. Biden then met with Ukrainian President Zelensky, who said he wanted to thank all Americans for the billions of dollars in aid that's been sent to his country so far and for the continued support moving forward. FBI Director Christopher Wray was grilled for hours on Capitol Hill, mostly by Republicans who accused his agency of targeting conservatives for political reasons, especially former President Trump. Though, keep in mind, Trump was the one who appointed Wray, and he was confirmed by a Republican-controlled Congress. Wray himself is a registered Republican, so he said in the hearing, quote, the idea that I'm biased against conservatives seems somewhat insane to me. But some Republicans say the evidence speaks for itself, since they say the FBI's raid of Trump's home in search of classified documents was over-aggressive. They also think the FBI has been too lenient with Biden's son, Hunter, who is set to plead guilty to skirting his taxes in a deal that will likely keep him out of jail. One Republican congressman asked Wray bluntly, quote, are you protecting the Bidens? Wray responded, absolutely not. Wray also defended the Bureau's agents and analysts who have seen an uptick in what the director called despicable threats. He reminded everyone, quote, the work the men and women of the FBI do to protect the American people goes way beyond the one or two investigations that seem to capture all the headlines. Republicans on the committee say they still want to talk to more key FBI and Justice Department officials. Severe weather is impacting even more parts of the country. Last night, storms erupted around the Great Lakes, and at least half a dozen tornadoes were reported around Chicago. Passengers at the Chicago O'Hare Airport even had to scramble to find shelter after a tornado was spotted nearby. Thankfully, no one has been reported seriously hurt, but hundreds of flights got delayed or canceled, and some suburbs will be cleaning up damage for a while. Separately, parts of Arkansas and Louisiana have been dealing with flash flooding since about 10 inches of rain fell in some places yesterday. And the threat is not over. Today, the National Weather Service has highlighted the middle of the country from South Dakota to the Texas Panhandle, saying everyone in that zone is now at an increased risk for severe storms. Meanwhile, a southern heat wave is intensifying and expanding to cover more states, too. The National Weather Service issued heat alerts for more than 112 million people from Florida to California. Meteorologists say the heat will top long-standing records, especially in the Southwest, like in Phoenix, where temperatures could reach 120 by the weekend. All right, we have much more news for you still ahead. But first, I want to tell you about our new sponsor, Miracle Made. Did you know that your temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts on your sleep quality? If you wake up too hot or too cold, I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Inspired by NASA, Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. I'm really impressed that I'm getting comfortable, cooling, and silver-infused fabric that also helps prevent bacteria all in one. It's so unique, and I'm really excited to be using these sheets now. Go to trymiracle.com/newsworthy to try Miracle Made sheets today. And get this, whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order now, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo Newsworthy at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/newsworthy and then use the code newsworthy to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/newsworthy to treat yourself. A-list stars could be out on the picket lines as soon as this morning. The union representing about 160,000 actors was not able to reach a deal with major studios and streaming services on a new contract before last night's deadline. Last we heard, the sides are apparently still far apart on issues like how to pay residuals or extra payments to actors when shows appear on streaming services. There are also concerns over using AI in productions, as well as pensions and healthcare contributions. So with all that, the union's national board is set to vote today on whether to strike. Already, the negotiating committee voted unanimously to recommend the strike go forward. And since more than 11,000 television and movie writers are also still on strike, this could pretty much bring Hollywood to a standstill. Most productions will have to pause or end completely. It's one of the strongest measures yet to tackle a potentially dangerous metal. The EPA is proposing much tougher standards on lead from paint in older homes, schools, daycares, and other places where young kids regularly visit. It's almost a ban. The only contamination still allowed would be the lowest levels that current removal efforts still cannot get. It could mean renovations for millions of buildings, or at the very least, those buildings would have to be classified as a health hazard and people would have to be notified. That could be a big undertaking. But the EPA says it's worth it, since the new requirements would reduce lead exposures for up to 500,000 children younger than 6 every year. The U.S. actually banned the sale of lead-based paint back in the 70s, but some of the contaminants are still left over from painting done before that, in many millions of buildings. And the new scientific consensus is that lead at even the most microscopic levels can be harmful to kids, causing behavioral problems, lower IQs, and slow growth. Now the EPA's proposal is going through a public comment period, and officials expect the rule to be finalized by next year. Chinese hackers have been able to get into the emails of some U.S. government officials. That's according to Microsoft, which says it uncovered a breach, as well as the federal government, which confirmed it. They were apparently able to get into the email accounts of State and Commerce Department officials in the weeks before Secretary of State Antony Blinken traveled to China last month. U.S. officials now say it's likely these hackers are affiliated with China's military or spy services, and they were able to steal some data. It's not clear exactly what the hackers had access to, but American officials insist no classified emails were breached. For now, the State Department says the incident is under investigation, and Microsoft says it's found the flaw in their system and fixed it. He already controls Twitter, Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink, and The Boring Company. And now Elon Musk has just launched a new artificial intelligence startup. That might be surprising, since Musk has repeatedly voiced concerns about AI's potential to destroy civilization as we know it. But now Musk says he's building a safer AI. It's called XAI, and the goal is apparently to, quote, understand the true nature of the universe. Musk does have some history in AI too, since he actually co-founded the company behind ChatGPT, which is OpenAI, but he stepped down from the board in 2018. When you look at the XAI website, you can see it's made up of research engineers, some of whom have previously worked for Google Research, OpenAI, Microsoft, and Tesla. We should know more about their objectives tomorrow when Musk and his XAI team plan to host a conversation on Twitter Spaces. Some of the world's top athletes came together to celebrate and honor the best of the best. The ESPYs happened last night in Los Angeles. And like other award shows, there was not a host because of the writer's strike. Still, plenty of sports awards were given out. The night's biggest winner was Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes, who won Best Male Athlete and Best NFL Player, while he and the rest of the Chiefs won Best Team. Best Female Athlete went to record-breaking skier Michaela Schifrin. Other highlights include basketball star LeBron James winning Best Record-Breaking Performance, and Argentinian soccer star Lionel Messi for Best Championship Performance. The U.S. women's national soccer team was recognized for their successful years-long legal battle for wage equity that set a new standard for female athletes. The team got the Arthur Ashe Award for courage. One last moment we want to mention was an emotional one. Members of the Buffalo Bills training staff were honored with the Pat Tillman Award for service because of their quick action after Damar Hamlin went into cardiac arrest during a game. Because of them, he not only survived, but is now back on the football field. Hamlin was there to present the award, and he embraced all of the trainers as they came on stage to accept. That's it for the main news today, so now it's time for Thing to Know Thursday. But first, a break to thank our sponsor, AG1. AG1 is a daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health, and it has become part of my everyday. I drink it each morning. I actually first gave AG1 a try because I too had heard about it on other podcasts and was really intrigued. So I tried it. And I reached out to partner with them because I find it really beneficial. So here we are. AG1 makes me feel that I'm covering my nutritional bases with a science-driven formulation of vitamins, probiotics, and whole food-sourced nutrients. It supports my energy, focus, immune system, gut health, and more. And I'm not the only one who thinks so. AG1 has helped millions of mornings begin on a healthier foundation. And you're getting all of this for a lot less money than if you took all these individual supplements. Each serving of AG1 costs less than $3 a day. So if you're looking for a simpler, effective investment to your health, try AG1 and get 5 free AG1 travel packs and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/newsworthy. That's drinkag1.com/newsworthy. Check it out. Okay, now back to Thing to Know Thursday. In what's being called a stunning social change, a record share of Americans are now deciding to live by themselves. Nearly 30% of American households are now a single person, whereas back in 1940, singles made up just 8% of households. So what's behind this big shift? Some historians say it all goes back to women entering the workforce and becoming self-sufficient. Researchers see real upsides and some downsides to all of this. They say in a lot of ways, living alone is a dream come true, giving people the ability to curate their own lives. On the other hand, some researchers point to low fertility rates that have become a problem, and they say single living comes with complications in older age. Of course, that's not to say someone who lives alone is doomed at any age. Researchers just say people who live alone have to make an effort to not isolate themselves. And instead, they suggest staying engaged with their communities and forming their own networks of family and friends. All right, thank you so much for listening today, and thank you for supporting the work we do here. From our amazing insiders to wearing our new merch to sharing the show with others. All right, we'll catch you up on more news to know tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.